Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wandering in the night. What were the chances?
All right, guys, my guest this afternoon, Dina Martin, is Hollywood royalty. Her dad, Dean Martin, was known as the King of Cool for his many hit songs, movies, television shows, and he was also a member of the iconic Rat Pack. Aside from being a great singer in her own right, Dina is also a world-class entertainer, having released many CDs throughout her career, including her latest, Swing Street. She has also written a New York Times best-selling book about her famous dad called Memories Are Made of This. She joins me this afternoon to talk about her amazing career, her famous dad, singer, author, actress, and yes, even a licensed pilot. The lovely and incredibly talented Miss Dina Martin. Dina, first of all, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and what a nice opening. What a great intro.
Thank you so much.
You should do this for a living.
I should. If you know anybody out in L.A. that needs an MC, you call me.
Okay, you got it.
I should ask you the first question. Is there anything that you do not do? My goodness.
Is there anything I do not do? Let's see. Well, now, I sing, I act, I dance, I fly planes, I do a lot of stuff. But,
you do.
And I like to work out, too. I like to stay healthy. How about you?
I get a great workout every afternoon in my day job. It's so, Dina, I want to start off early on in your career if I can. So I want to try to set this up for my audience. You're a 10-year-old girl. You're at the Copa Room at the Sands in Las Vegas, and there you see your dad. He's up there with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, and all the Hollywood greats are in the audience just drooling over what your dad and his gang are doing. I mean, as a 10-year-old girl, Dina, how do you process this, that everybody's going to laugh and having a great time admiring your dad?
Oh, good question. And it was pretty amazing, being there, sitting, ringside in the Copa Room at the Sands Hotel. But, to hear, we're all sitting there, and it's kind of wild. Everybody's talking, and, it's dark. And all of a sudden you hear, the ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to direct from the bar, Dean Martin. And so then, everybody got quiet. My dad walks out, and I could hear the people around me going, "Oh, there he is." And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, there he is." And he looked so incredible in his, tuxedo. I had seen him in the tuxedo many times, but to see him walk out on stage, and he was funny, he was handsome, he was cool, he told jokes, he sang, and then my Uncle Sammy came out, my Uncle Frank, so I was just dumbfounded, and I said, and I believe I said it, probably my first time there, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
Because I saw the reaction that everybody had to my dad, and he was just so charming. And,
Right.
And Frank Sinatra loved him, and Sammy Davis Jr. loved him. But the way that they had such respect for each other, and they could sing, and they could dance, and they had a good time. And they weren't jealous of each other. They let each other
Right.
shine. So I thought, yeah, this is what I have to do. This is what I'm going to do. And so, he was my dad, but he was also, Dean Martin. But at home, he was just, down to earth. He would, if he wasn't working on a movie or, going out of town, he didn't go out of town very much, but he would get up in the morning and go play golf. He loved to play golf. And then he would come home, about 5 o'clock, and you'd hear him walk through the back door, and, I could hear him, because it's not that he had taps on his shoes, but you could just hear him walking in. And he would come down, and he'd go down to the bar, and he'd have a cocktail with my mom, and we would all the kids, 7 of us, we would leave and let them have their hour together alone, and then we'd all come in, and he was fun and sweet and down to earth, and then we'd all have dinner together. So, so I knew that Dean Martin, that was my dad, who was really fun and fabulous, and then to see him entertaining people. Of course, I had been to his movies, and of course, out to dinner with him, and seeing him when he was recording, because I was there when he recorded Memories Are Made of This. That was that's a great story too. But you asked me how I processed it. I think it's because he was so down to earth and so real and just so regular, and he was an Italian dad. We all had a great sense of humor, but there was respect in our house.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's what it was. It was please and thank you, and so he was just. It's not that it was hard to process. He was different from everybody else, but he was just a dad.
I think one way to describe your dad, Dina, and for a guy, the ultimate compliment that you can give a guy is you can say he's Dean Martin or Frank Sinatra. He's a man's man. That's an ultimate compliment. That describes your dad to a T.
Yeah, it's true. He was, and he always looked great, but he was a man's man. Men wanted to be like him. Women wanted to be with him. He treated everybody with respect, and he always taught us, growing up, he said, treat people the way you want to be treated, and you'll be fine. So, and that's who he was, and he was a good guy, and he was an entertainer, and he was, he was so much fun.
Yeah,
all of them were. Uncle Frank, Uncle Sammy, forget about it.
Yeah, they every guy admired them. They wanted to be, like you said, they wanted to be them. They had the best life, the best, obviously they had the money. They could walk into a restaurant. If your dad walked into a restaurant, I mean, the reputation, the place would be jammed the next night. Oh, I'm gonna want to real quick. In the early '90s, my friends and I, every summer we used to have a shutdown where I worked. It was like 5-6 guys every summer. We used to go to L.A. We all thought we were movie stars back then, So yeah. All my friends, they say, Mike, where you going? I said, I'm going to Hamburger Hamlet. Like, for what? I want to see if I see Dean Martin there. And that was always, I would always go there. Every year I go to L.A., I'm going to go. I always went in the afternoon. I didn't know he went there for dinner.
Oh, yeah, he was there for dinner. In fact, I lived right in the building right up the street from there, the Sierra Towers.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
in fact, from the Hamburger Hamlet there on Sunset, 9201 or something, like that.
Right.
I have, when my dad passed away, I have the chair that he used to sit in, that red leather chair.
Yeah, the old style.
Yeah, it's in my den here, and and there's a little plaque. It was Dean Martin's at Hamburger Hamlet, but he would go there every Sunday night.
Wow.
And so good memories.
Yeah, because
very good memories.
Your dad, Frank Sinatra. A lot of Italian Americans, when they seen them, they'd say, they really inspired, a lot of Italian Americans to get into show business.
Yeah, they did. And, my dad sang a lot of Italian songs. I don't remember, Uncle Frank, not so many, but, he was just an unbelievable, he's my Uncle Frank, and he's the one who taught me how to phrase, how to live with the song, how to make it my own. My dad was so cute. He would say, Dina, make sure that, if you're going into this business, if you're going to be a singer and an actor, if you're going to do this, always know all of your lines, hit your mark, always be early, never be late, and, don't be a jerk and don't embarrass me. So that was, my dad. And, my Uncle Frank, he taught me about, as I say, phrasing and things like that. But my dad always told me to sing from my heart. But he was Italian. He was an Italian dad. He's, Italian grandfather. And my my grandmother Angela, because I was named after her, his mom. My grandmother Angela, I'm Dina Angela, and she taught me how to make pasta fagioli.
Pasta fagioli, yeah, sure, yeah.
Pasta fagioli, yes. And every Sunday night she'd come over, and I'd watch her make gnocchi. And, it was just every Sunday. That was a beautiful tradition. But when she taught me how to make the pasta fagioli, it was an inspiration.
Yeah.
Because and I was still, like 10 years old. It was all going to happen to me, 9, 10 years old. And she taught me how to do it. And she said, Dina, do not tell your sisters. Do not tell anyone how to make this. And one day, when I'm gone, this will be a connection. You'll make it for your dad. And it will be a connection for you and me and your dad. And it would be, it'll be a fantastic thing. And so I never told my sisters how to make it. So and after my grandmother passed away, it was years after, it was Christmas, and I thought, what am I going to get Dad for Christmas? Another V-neck cashmere sweater? No. Another picture in a silver frame? No. And the pasta visual came to me. And I went to the store, I bought all of the ingredients, and I knew exactly how to make it. And I took it up to his house, and he looked at it. I put it in a ball mason jar with a red ribbon. And the look in his eye, when he saw that this was the pasta visual, he looked at me, he said, is this what I think it is? And I said, yes. And we went in and we had it, and he said, it's still warm. And so he would call me every week, and I would make it for him. So my grandmother knew exactly what to do. And then years later, of course, I put the recipe in my book, Memories Are Made of This, Dean Martin Through His Daughter's Eyes. But she knew, and that was the tradition, that every Sunday night, we were Italians, and that's what we did on Sunday nights, have a beautiful, beautiful meal.
Yeah, it's a beautiful memories, and my parents, thank God, they're still with us. And every Sunday, now they got this stuff going on right now, but I bring my kids. We go over to my mother's on Sunday. We have homemade, well, not homemade pots, but the sauce is all homemade. Everything's homemade.
Oh, yeah.
The meatballs. It is a culture, and it's something that we like. When I was a kid, my mother nowadays they call her a crazy woman. She would open the window and scream out the window for me and my brothers to come home. Time to eat. Now forget about it. They put her in jail. But I would always show up late. Ma, all right, Ma, I was playing hockey, Ma, with my friends or whatever. But Christmas Eve, I was the first guy at the table.
Oh yeah.
First guy at the table.
See, it's great memories, and what so we've got to keep that going.
Yeah, that's what I try to do with my kids.
But we were talking about Dad singing, the Italian culture and all of that, and and he would sing those beautiful Italian songs, but his voice was just so beautiful. And for me to carry out this on, and for my albums and for my shows, and hopefully we'll be through all of this and we can get out there on the road again.
Amen.
And not just be doing, I'm enjoying doing my Facebook Live shows every Friday.
Every Friday,
that's fantastic.
4:00.
And yeah, that's an amazing thing. But for me to get out there and have the audience, and to get up there, with a great band behind me, all my wonderful musicians, and get out there and see the people and get that feedback. Of course, it's different, and of course, I'm bringing memories for people. But this show on Facebook on Fridays, and it's on YouTube and everything, but it has just become an unbelievable success. And this Friday, on the 5th, it's going to be my 47th show, consecutive.
Yes,
47th. So it's unbelievable to me. But it's been.
I've been watching them. I've subscribed. I get the alerts when you do a new show. So for everybody in my audience, Dina does a wonderful thing. She just gets in front of the camera and sings beautiful songs every Friday, 4:00 Eastern time. So subscribe to her YouTube channel. It's you will not be disappointed, believe me. Dina, we talked a little bit earlier about you talked with Frank Sinatra, how he taught you how to live with the song. Frank Sinatra said many, many times that Tommy Dorsey taught him how to breathe when he sang. To how to use his diaphragm, how to intake a breath. Was your dad into those kind of mechanics as a singer?
No, the way my dad would warm up was, wah, and then he's done, he's ready. It was just natural and perfect, for him. And I do remember, asking, I was going to do a song with my dad and Frank Sinatra on the Dean Martin Christmas show with Tina. And we're standing in the wings, and I said, so, Uncle Frank, how do you do it? How do you get that great tone? How do you sing? He said, well, it's all about the air. He said, I take in a big breath, and I push from the diaphragm, and I can tell, even before a note comes out, if I'm going to be on pitch or not. I said, really? Does my dad do that? He says, no, your father has no idea what he's doing. He just does it. He's a natural. And it was true. That's the way, my dad could sing anything. And it was just easy and laid back, and I know Frank worked for every note he hit, but boy could he phrase, and he felt the song. So it's really, I was blessed to have all of these people in my life.
Dina, early on you sang in your career, you sang a lot of folks music, a lot of Western, country, some blues
Yes.
as well. When did you decide that you wanted to start singing from the American Songbook?
Well, actually, it was after yes, because I started in country, and then I had I had a rock and roll group. We played the Whiskey a Go Go and things like that. But it was really fun. It was an amazing time. The Whiskey a Go Go.
Different crowd.
A whole different life. That was just up on Sunset Boulevard.
Yes.
Anyways, when my dad passed away, and that was on Christmas, 1995, I started listening to his music because I wanted to hear his voice and all that. And I'm going, you know what? Gosh, this is really better than I remember it. and I would listen. I thought, well, you know what? There's a lot of these songs that I would like to sing and I'd like to perform. So I'm trying to think how to start. I think I did I was doing a tour in Florida for the Performing Arts Centers, and that's when I started to sing these songs, and everybody just loved it. So it was quite something, and I have great arrangements, and it was really just to get back in touch with my dad. And I know he's always there with me. And in fact, I'm sitting in my studio right now with a lot of his gold and platinum albums around me and pictures of Nat King Cole and Bobby Darin and my dad.
Wow.
So it's something that I grew up with. But now that I am singing the Great American Songbook and all types of songs, I think that it doesn't matter what genre, as long as it's a well-written song and you have a great arrangement, because that's what I love to do. And especially here in, doing this Facebook Live on these live shows on Fridays, I'm getting a lot of requests for different songs, and so I'm trying to do that. I'm in fact keeping my music director, Rick Creevy, I'm keeping him very busy. He's like one of the few musicians who's getting paid every week, because I have him write new arrangements for me for new songs. And so he's happy, I'm happy, and we're making, a lot of people all over the world very happy. In fact, I think last week I was number 2 in the world, top streamers. It's pretty amazing.
Fantastic. Now, you do a wonderful job.
It's amazing. Job. Thank you. On an iPhone, on a tripod.
Oh, wow.
So it's outrageous to me.
Yeah, it is. You do a great job, and you should be commended for it, because the American Songbook is making a comeback, in my opinion. There's a lot more stations on the radio that play it. It's a lot more prevalent on the internet as well. I know Robert Darby does a lot of it as well. Joe Piscopo plays it now on Sunday nights.
He has a great voice, and also and Rod Stewart, and Michael Bublé. So there's a lot of people. It's great music. You can't do better than Gershwin and Berlin and Sammy Cahn. I'm thinking about Sammy Cahn, who was at our house all the time. And, he wrote Time After Time and Ain't That a Kick in the Head and all those fabulous songs. But he would be at our house, sitting at the piano. And what he used to do, which was really cute, the parodies that my dad and Frank Sinatra would do, most of them came from Sammy Cahn. And and one of my favorites was, I've sewn a costume to her face. And they would do these cute little things, but imagine there's Sammy Cahn sitting in my living room at the piano writing parodies for Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Dean, you mentioned that people, when you were a very young child, that people would come to your house. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question. So you're a young girl with your brother. This has to be early 1960, maybe 61, 62. Can you tell my audience the story of being a young girl with your brother Dino and doing the twist? And who was in the house when you were doing this?
Oh my gosh, Marilyn Monroe.
Wow.
Yes,
my favorite.
So Marilyn Monroe, and it was quite something. So Dino and I, Dean Paul, but we always called him Dino, and we were down there. We had a jukebox in our living room down by the bar, and so we put on Bobby Darin singing Of a Lazy River. So Dino and I did the twist for Marilyn Monroe, and then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my God, because years later, I'm thinking, that really happened? And she was a doll. What a very, very nice, sweet sweet, beautiful woman. And let me see, I think she was married to, was it Don Drysdale? Not Don Drysdale.
DiMaggio.
DiMaggio, right.
Yeah.
Drysdale was one of the Yankees. I mean, the Dodgers.
The Dodgers,
yeah. Yeah, the Dodgers. And we had dugout seats at Chavez Ravine at Dodger Stadium.
Yes.
And,
wow.
So we would go there but pretty amazing to do the twist for Marilyn Monroe while Bobby Darin sang up the Lazy River.
What was it? I mean, what was his reaction? Obviously, he was saddened when she passed away, but what did he say about her? What kind of person she was? Because she was very misunderstood.
Yeah, well, and so my dad is a very faithful guy. He's, they were doing the movie together, and he stuck up for her. I think they wanted to fire her, and Dad said, no, I want to, I'm doing it with Marilyn, and that's how it is. But, he didn't, he wouldn't get into anything like that with me. He was just, he was a stand-up guy, and if he gave you your word, and if he shook hands with you, if you shake on it, that was it. And that's the way he was. And he, I never saw him, get mad or angry. I mean, he would get angry, but for him, he wouldn't blow up and do anything or, be a crazy person. When he had it up to here, he had it up to here. And then that was it. Mm. That's when it was just, there was just something about him that was, so great. But, we just had respect for him. There was no swearing in our house. We were always there on time for dinner. We took care of we did a lot of things, and of course, my mom, fantastic. But all of us, living at 601 Mountain Drive. And I remember I think it was my 18th birthday party, and I had the Buffalo Springfield with my band.
Wow.
The Buffalo Springfield were out around the pool, and my dad called the police. At 11 o'clock, he said, those Martins are really making a lot of noise.
Oh, my goodness.
And the Beverly Hills Police Department said, okay, Mr. Martin, we'll be right over.
Wow.
He said, no, I'm an irate neighbor. He said, yeah, we know, Mr. Martin. We'll come up.
That's beautiful. I read something like that in Rick Lertzman's book. About that story.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to go golf the next morning. He had to get his sleep.
Oh, yeah. He would... and I always say, that, my Uncle Frank wanted to go to bed in the wee small hours of the morning, but my Uncle Frank didn't want to go to bed in the wee small hours of the morning, but my dad wanted to get up in the wee small hours of the morning so he could go play golf.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And he loved playing golf, and he'd walk around the house with a putter in his hand, practice, with his or a 9-iron, because he was always trying to perfect his grip, and he would swing his club, and we had a thick green shag carpet all over. It was like a fairway, and pretty amazing.
Your dad did something I don't think Frank Sinatra ever did. He in 1964, Everybody Loves Somebody knocked the Beatles off of the number one on the music charts.
Yeah, unbelievable. My dad was very, very happy about that, and I think he sent out two telegrams, Western Union telegrams, one to Frank Sinatra, one to Elvis Presley, and it said, I did it. He was very happy. He knocked the Beatles out of first place, which was quite something. It was crazy. That's his theme song, Everybody Loves Somebody, and that's my closing song usually that I do every show. And I do it on the Facebook Live show also, or YouTube, or whatever it is. And so I always end a show with... Everybody Loves Somebody, and now my theme song, Bellissima. But, it was an incredible life, and it still is. And, I'm blessed, and I have, great memories, and just watching his TV show and watching the roasts, and, and watching his movies.
Yeah, the
and
roasts.
Hearing his music. Yeah, the roasts.
The roasts they're still,
the roasts are amazing.
Amazing. Just to tell my audience, I thought somebody was telling a story about your dad on a video. I forget who it was, but it's pretty much sums up your dad. I believe they were filming Sergeants 3, and during some downtime, I think Sinatra or somebody was having an argument on the set, and your dad was just sitting on the couch, and he goes, "Holy mackerel, look at the size of that fly."
Could be.
Yeah, he just really just laid back and reserved.
He was laid back, and I mean, there's a lot of stories, and all in my book, and people should read the book, and so it was quite a life, and as I say, I was just very blessed to have known him, and I'm so happy I was named Dina, Dean with an A, and so just learning from him and watching him, and just such a respect for what he did. And when I think about, because he worked hard all of his life, born in Steubenville, Ohio, he had a brother, and my grandmother Angela, she was a seamstress, and my grandfather Gaetano Crocetti was a barber, and they came over on the boat, Ellis Island, September 11th, 1913. And
Wow.
look what they accomplished, unbelievable. So, and that was just a little Steubenville, Ohio, and, my dad just became, he worked hard all of his life. And
amazing.
And he
amazing,
made it, so it was...
Yeah, amazing talent. He never liked to rehearse. How can they even... Him and Sinatra never rehearsed. Is that true?
Sinatra. He would rehearse a little, but as far as music, I'm thinking about for the Dean Martin show, he would not go in and do the rehearsal 5 days a week. They were doing the Dean Martin show. Maybe it's Ella Fitzgerald or Peggy Lee or the Mills Brothers or whomever was on the show. They would go in that week and they would rehearse, but my dad would not. But on Sunday afternoon, he would, after he played golf, he would go to NBC in Burbank. He would come in, go through the cue cards, and then they would run through the songs, with the Nelson, it was Les Brown and the Band of Renown. They'd go through the songs, and that would be the first time that he would sing, say, with Ella or Peggy Lee or the Mills Brothers. Then he'd go in and have his lunch and watch the dress, and then he would do the dress rehearsal, and he'd do the show. So but what he did do is he knew all of his songs because he had it on a cassette recorder. Okay, all the songs for that week, the songs that he would do for that week for his show, it was on a cassette, and he would he would listen to it on his way to play golf. They would listen to it in his golf cart. They would listen to it on his way home. So he learned all of that. He learned the songs so that he knew what he was doing. But he didn't know, all the dialogue and everything. And to think that he could come out there and he was just remarkable. And, maybe he's doing a dance. Maybe he had to do a dance with Juliet Prowse or Sid Charisse. He would just get out there and do it.
Amazing.
But he could sing and dance, and he was remarkable. But he didn't like to to rehearse.
He just seemed like he was just having a great time. That's all, basically.
He was having a great time, and he made everybody have a good time. And that's what he was about. He didn't take anything, it wasn't real serious. If he made a mistake, they say, keep it in, that's okay. It's fine. And, so when people watch this live show that I do on Fridays, they'll see the mistakes. I mean, because it's live, I can't cut and edit, and I wouldn't anyways. That's how it is. I can't tell the joke the right way. I keep making mistakes, but that's okay. People love that. And I remind them of my dad, which is so nice for all these people who are stuck in their homes or wherever they're, stuck right now and can't go out.
And
so
free.
I'm bringing a little bit of, I'm bringing a little bit of happiness to them all over the world, and that's, as I say, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Dina, I know you have to run. I want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Obviously the telethon, when Frank Sinatra set up that famous meeting between Jerry and your dad, did he ever mention anything to you about that? I mean, because like you say, he was a private guy.
He was a private guy, and well, first of all, we never knew. None of us knew. I was living in New York at the time, and of course, I always watched the NBA telethon. I'd watched it, from
I love it.
When I was a very little girl, because my dad and Jerry Lewis, they're the ones who started it. They started the telethon, and then after years, then my dad didn't want to. Of course, after they broke up, but we would always watch the telethon. And, because it was always so much fun to watch them, and, they have on their tuxedos, and then, by hour 10 or something, loosened their ties, and they had their bow ties on, and you'd watch the tote board, and I think it was like a manual tote board in the beginning. But I always loved watching that, the telethon, and seeing everybody on it. Now, I'm sitting there in New York, and I'm watching the telethon, and I see Frank Sinatra. He walks out, and he says, I have a friend who loves your show, loves what you do here. And I see my dad walking out, and I can tell his walk from anywhere, even though it was in the dark. I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!" And he walked up, and they hugged, and it was cute. That funny line. I think Jerry said, "So you've been working?" and my dad had the #1 TV show, had it for like 10 years.
Right.
And Jerry says that line, so it was great. It's not that they got together after for that, but it was good, and I loved Jerry Lewis, and he was a good pally of mine, and he would call me all the time, and I'd call him. And then when I did the telethon with him, it was great. I think I did it a couple times, but we sang Time After Time, and he looks at me and he says, Martin and Lewis together again.
Yeah,
so
right.
it was great.
I miss those days. I mean, the telethon, I used to go hold the can in the middle of the street. That's what I used to do, and I used to always mail them a check. And those, I used to tell my mother, "Ma, the telethon started at 9:00 over here on the East Coast. It started, I believe, and it was like watching an old variety show. It was wonderful.
And all the people that would come out, it was really, really quite something. And I'm sorry they. Oh well.
Yeah. That's another
over,
show.
But we're on.
Yeah, that's another show, Dina. That's awful, but the good thing is that, when your dad broke up with Jerry, they both broke up, or whatever the case was, they both went on to have great careers after. Usually one guy does awful, you never hear from him again, but they had great careers. Yeah,
they both did, and that was, it was time, so they had 10 beautiful years together, and, fabulous memories, but, as I say, for my dad, when it's over, it's over. So that was, my dad was fine. It really hurt Jerry a lot, and because that things happen. But my dad, he was nervous, but he went out there, and I have a fabulous photo of him at the Sands Hotel, his opening night, the first time he was alone, and wow. With his solo career. And I'm looking at the people in the audience, and it's Jack Benny, and you name it, they're all there.
Cary
Ginger
Grant,
Rogers,
Joe Louis,
Cary Grant. Everybody there. So, it's as I say, I'm very lucky, and I thank you for this interview. But I do have to get on to.
Yes. I know you. I know you got to get back to the cocktail hour. So I thank you for this.
Oh yeah, what time? Wait a minute, what time is it? Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my God, thank you for this, Dina. And you have a great website. I'll promote that as well. So thank you for your time.
All right,
Dina.
and I'll see you Friday.
Yeah, I'll see you Friday.
4:00.
Give the Hollywood Kid a shout out. Say this goes out to the Hollywood Kid.
I will do that. I'm going to give you a little sippy poo, okay?
I'll take it. You're the
so
best.
I'm going to, yeah. All right, Mike, for real talk with the Hollywood Kid. All right, my dear. So I'll see you Friday with a shout out and a little sippy poo.
Yeah, thank you so much. God bless you, Dina, and continued success. And we'll talk to you soon. My best to your husband and everybody else. Thank you. Ciao.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, thank you for listening. If you like this interview, please click the subscribe button for me. And be sure to listen to the many other interviews on this channel, like our famous Hollywood murder mysteries, celebrity interviews, and mini reels.